Chancellor Wilson, President Gertler, graduating students, families, and friends. I'm very proud to be here today to receive this honorary degree and to share this occasion with you, the graduating class of 2018. Your graduation is the culmination of an enormous amount of hard work. It is not only a joyous occasion, but also a huge milestone in your lives. And I want to offer you and your families my warmest congratulations. You should be very proud of yourselves. It is also particularly meaningful for me that you are all students of University College, as I have a special affiliation with the college. Some years ago, my spouse, Professor Jill Matus, she would be the elegant lady who hooded me, was the acting principal of UC, and from time to time, I got to accompany her to some really great events there. Yes, there were some important guest speakers and lectures, but I must confess that Fireball was the most memorable evening I spent at UC. You guys really know how to throw a party. Preparing my remarks for today prompted me to think of my own graduation nearly 50 years ago. I mention that number not to let you know how old I am, that's probably pretty obvious to you, but because I realize that for the past 5 decades, my university experience has had a very strong influence on me. I have depended on it to help me shape the course of my life and career. I'm not just talking about my academic studies. They were very important, but I also want to include my experience beyond the lecture halls and libraries, and especially my experience in community work. It was at university that I first became involved in causes and activities that I cared passionately about, things that I believed in, that I felt I could contribute to, and that gave me a great deal of fulfillment. I grew up in South Africa, which at the time was in the grip of the apartheid regime. It was during my undergraduate studies that I became an active participant in the anti-apartheid movement. After graduating, I went to law school and got involved at Law Students' Council, eventually becoming president. At that time, the council was largely concerned with insular matters. We discussed the curriculum with the dean. We represented and advocated for law students. But it occurred to me that there was an opportunity for law students to provide legal aid services to those who could not afford representation, the disenfranchised. At the same time as providing a vital service, the clinics could give the students exposure to social issues and be a teaching tool. Working with members of faculty who supported the idea, law students opened the first legal aid clinic in 1973. It later became the Legal Resource Center, a significant organization in anti-apartheid history. I loved doing that work, and it encouraged me to look for ways of trying to make a difference. When I left university, I worried I'd have to put aside these kinds of activities and get on with the business of finding meaningful work and building a career. But it became clear to me that every time I had a decision to make, whether I would do something, how I would become involved, I would try to assess whether these prospective activities would summon the same kind of passion and engagement. Here's what I'm trying to say. My university experience has been something that I've tapped into at many different stages of my life. I can best describe it as a kind of a touchstone, because a touchstone is a measure, be it physical or intellectual, by which the merit or validity of a concept can be tested. In retrospect, my experience at university was a very good touchstone to rely on. I have to be passionate about what I'm doing and concentrate on activities that I feel will have an impact, and I learned that at university. Everyone knows what a terrific university U of T is, and no matter what course you followed or what subjects you've majored in, you have learned to conceptualize and think through issues and master a body of knowledge. These things are indisputably important, and they will stand you in great stead whatever paths you follow. Along with your academic experience at U of T, I'm sure you have found interests, causes that motivate and capture you. Your time at university has fostered openness to new ideas, people, and friendships. Hold on to that. Continue to be inspired by what you care about and believe in, what you've learned about yourself and the people around you. Continue to be curious and to think critically. You do not have to let go of these things as you move on to the next phase of your life. It is common for people to think of idealism as belonging to one's youth, as a kind of indulgence, something that gives way to the responsibilities and realities of life after university. But working to improve things in one's community, trying to make a difference, committing to helping others, these provide lifelong sustenance. I count amongst my greatest successes and the projects, both professional and volunteer, that have invoked in me the same kind of passion, idealism, and camaraderie as those I first got involved in a long, long time ago. When I think about my university experience and the way it has helped me and guided me in my life, I want to say that although my intellectual training has contributed mightily to any success I've had in my career, my sense of self is rooted in the idealism that I've been talking about. For the most part, I've dedicated my discretionary time to volunteering in health and education endeavors, as I'm firmly convinced that the quality of a society's education and health system is a good indicator of its success. Some highlights are the work I've done at U of T, Baycrest, and Mars. I can honestly say that the joy these activities have given me is immeasurable. If a hospital redefines its vision and improves its governance, if a university pension and endowment fund performs well and releases more resources to improve the life of students, faculty, and staff, or if a discovery district associated with a university can provide the region an enhanced and stimulated environment to help ensure the country has a prosperous and environmentally sound future, it's pretty wonderful to be involved in such endeavors. Recently, I've had the privilege of working on a wonderful healthcare initiative that brings together the country I came from and the country that welcomed me as an immigrant. For the last 4 years, Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto has partnered with the Nelson Mandela Hospital in Toronto, in the Nelson Mandela Trust, to implement Mandela's dream of a world-class children's hospital in Johannesburg, South Africa. Sick Kids has a mandate to work around the world, sharing expertise and know-how to assist organizations helping to develop and improve pediatric institutions. The Sick Kids Mandela Project is not only a wonderful example of sharing and cooperation, it was a way for me to reconnect to my roots. I am particularly proud of the quiet, respectful, and sensitive way in which the Canadian institution went about sharing its enormous expertise. By the way, and this is important to recognize, there were beneficiaries on both sides of the project. The South African team was able to benefit from the Canadian experience, and the Sick Kids team also found the work professionally vitalizing and stimulating. This bears out something that I've always found. The spirit of trying to make a difference and improve things feeds back from volunteer work to professional activities with rewarding effect. When I undertook volunteer work, I didn't realize that a byproduct of this work would be to create incredible friendships and partnerships. This helped provide me, as an immigrant, deeper roots and attachments in this city than my professional activities alone would have allowed. I want to talk for a few minutes about taking risks. Whether professional or volunteer, or even personal, everything we undertake entails risks. Obviously, one must carefully assess the merits of any course of action and the likelihood of success or failure. But even when there's a good chance of success, nothing is for sure, and not everything can turn out well. I've had my fair share of failures. Although these failures are always painful, I cannot, in retrospect, regret them. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't be disheartened by failure. It's important not to ignore what went wrong, but you don't want to dwell too long on it either. What is vital is to reignite the passion of what you're striving for. My failures have taught me to be better at making good decisions. We develop judgment, the ability to trust our gut, and to trust the intuition that experience enables us to recognize as a guide. I've been encouraging you to continue to be idealistic, to contribute to your communities, and to try and have an impact on things that you care passionately about. As you move on to the next phase of your lives, of course you're looking to the future, but I urge you to take a few moments to reflect on the past few years, your university years. Think about what you're taking with you, the skills and knowledge you've gained. Think about the ways in which you've grown and been exposed to new ideas and ideals. Think about how you can take these things forward with you, be proud of them, and consciously allow them to continue to shape and influence your life. Thank you.